Hi there. I wanted to make a little update video, even though not a lot's changed, but I want to make an update video because I just do. And yesterday I made an update video that was about half an hour, and I looked crazy. My hair was greasy. My clothes had stains all over them. I had spinach in my teeth. I had not looked in the mirror before I made the video, and it was kind of chaotic. Now, I think the sort of chaotic mood and the kind of almost very upbeat mood that I was feeling at the time was kind of reflective of the sort of chaos going around my brain. So I currently have a very different type of energy, but I want to make a video that is way more helpful, way more concise, way more just more structured, because it was not very structured, and that is not a problem. It's not a problem, but it's really not a problem. But also I think that if there are people out there who are having anything vestibular, anything vertigo-y, horribly, all that stuff, you don't really necessarily come for a big long life story and rambling and titting around, basically, followed by 5 minutes at the end of talking about vestibular stuff. So I want to make this more structured, and I'm really going to try. I think my 2026 resolution should be to learn how to fucking edit videos. Yeah, so let's really not get sidetracked. So there are things I want to speak about. 1, general life update. 2, vestibular, like general vestibular update, blah 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 blah. And then last of all, I want to talk about, I want to touch on ADHD again, because although I've never been assessed, it fits. It feels like it fits me like a glove. Yeah. So I know that ADHD is something that a lot of people either are diagnosed with, have, or are undiagnosed. I know that it's is being diagnosed a lot at the moment, and I think that is due to the fact that a lot of people have it. And whether the cause, I tend to think the cause is, say, we're getting sidetracked, but I tend to think the cause is, like, personally, I kind of tend to think it's like a psychosocial type thing. I don't know that it's something that starts in the brain and that's it, you're born with it, you've got it, you blah blah. It might be. I haven't the faintest foggiest clue about it, but what I do know is that from what I understand of it, the way I act fits it like a glove. And if I can get a diagnosis that matches that, that will help make me feel like less of a weird person. But at the same time, if I don't get a diagnosis, then I can at least stop thinking I might have it. So I can kind of like be like, well, this is just you. So that was meant to be for the end of the video, but I digress. Let's move on and just talk about vestibular stuff and life stuff. So I just want to talk really quickly about the life side of things. Essentially, I not long after I posted the last video, I was really struggling with my symptoms and depression and like walking around like a complete like rain cloud and just feeling awful. And I feel like awful does not do it justice. I was finding myself becoming freaked out by a particular symptom that I haven't had before, which was a complete inability to text or type on my phone. So most people kind of touch type or typing on the phone is a very muscle memory thing. Tap, 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 tap. Most of us, like, we don't think about it. We do not think about it. I was, to get my thumb to type the right button, I was having to really think about it, and the majority of the time I was making typos beyond your wildest dreams. Like, it was mash up, and that was giving me anxiety. My phone felt in my hand like it was too small. It felt like it was made of cotton wool. It felt slimy. It just felt weird. And it was causing me insane anxiety because I was like, first of all, I rely on my phone for every bit of help that I need in life. I don't know something, look it up, talk to someone on WhatsApp. All the things that, like in modern day, are really, really common for getting through life, I was struggling to do. And for my course, I was Googling and looking things up like an absolute like maniac. That's like part of my learning, was looking stuff up. And I was just finding that I would go to type and I just couldn't. It was every time wrong coming out. So where my thumbs were thought to go was wrong for, I don't want to speak too soon, but for about 4-5 days that was happening, to the point where I was developing a very small fear and anxiety around my phone, that I was just like leaving my phone away from me because I was so freaked out by that symptom. Needless to say, the anxiety that I was getting as a result of trying to type and look things up on my phone was really interfering with my studies. I couldn't concentrate. I was going around in a cycle of anxiety, and I just was just feeling just awful, to the point where, and I really want to iterate how much of a not easy decision this was, to the point where I felt that I could not continue on my course, not without falling drastically behind. And for me, being behind gives me the most anxiety you could ever know. I just didn't want to be there. I just didn't want to be behind. And I know, like I'm sure a lot of you know, that when you get like a vestibular flare, sometimes it's a temporary moment thing. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes there's a huge question mark over how long is this going to be. So I decided that I continuing would not be the right decision for me. And yeah, a huge decision. Financially very impactful decision. I worked really hard to get through the first semester, got through my exams, which I didn't really think I was going to do. And just literally just to put things in context, I was doing well, and I was getting distinctions. I was working my fucking tits, fanny, balls, penis off. I was working really, really hard, and that's why that determination was like, no, I don't, like, I know I'm really dizzy, but I need to keep going. That's where that was from. And then I just thought, I know the nature of this beast, and the nature of this beast is that it doesn't do well with stress. And stressing about trying to get back up north and trying to do like lab science experiments whilst feeling vertigo, just that's a stress. So I really have decided that the best thing for my health is to stop. And I've been thinking, do I stop? Do I defer? And truthfully, as difficult as I think of a decision this has been for a lot of people to understand, vocationally, I don't know how much I was seeing myself going down that path. And also, I think when I'm poorly, what I really want is stability, and I want the little bit of money that I've got left over from the course to fund getting better and getting well and getting back on track. Whereas if I defer, that money is frozen somewhere, and I go to having no income at all. Which is near enough where I am, near enough. And I do want to caveat, because I do think it's important. I just want people to know that I know my level of privilege in as much as I'm in my parents' house. I'm not going to get kicked out. I will be supported until I get a job, which is a privilege, a luxury. And I'm really fully aware that it is. It's not how I want to live. It's not how I want to live at 32. It's not where I want to be. And also and it is not like they can fling cash all over the place. So yeah, just to cover all those bases. But I think all of us feel better when we are in charge of our finances, in whatever form that takes. Be it that you're on job seekers allowance or disability allowance, you are in charge of your finances. It's very different from being like parents. I don't have any money. Can I have like £50 so that I can get some food? Not like, do you know what I mean? It's weird. It's a weird feeling. It's not a nice feeling. It's a bit demoralizing. So that's where I am. I'm very much at square one. And one bit of me, because of all the, the luxuries that I've mentioned of it not being the end of the world for me, I don't need to like literally start flinging my CV somewhere like today while I'm still ill. So I don't have that horrible panic. I don't have dependents, all this stuff. So I can take my time, but I will not want to be taking too much time because it is a bit of a drag. It's not very nice. So yeah, I'm very much, very much starting from scratch, and just feeling the pressures of society, feeling the voice in my neck and in my like ear. It's something that I've always had, even when I've been working full time, making my own money. It's always been, you shouldn't be living with your parents. You should be renting. No, you're not renting. Don't rent because that's money down the drain. You should be buying a house at this point. You need to be buying. And it's like, are you out of touch or what? Like, I'm sorry. Like, you're out of touch as fuck. I would much rather have my own mortgage, be making all my own money, single woman, financially dependent, in London, no problems, and have a baby because your time is running out. So I can't say that I don't feel these freaking voices from hell in the back of my ear and in the back of my neck being like, you're not doing life right. And I was like, I'm trying, girl. I'm trying, girl. I'm fucking exhausted as well. I'm trying. I am trying. You know, I'm trying. Um, yeah. If you know, you know. And it's, yeah, sucks. It sucks. Because I think being single, you don't split the costs. You don't split the cost of a mortgage. You don't split rent. You don't split the costs. You're it's just you. And I think when people are like, you need to be living in a house, blah blah blah, I'm like, it would be nice. It would be really nice. Tell me how. Tell me how. You know, I already tried to go to uni to get a job that would pay me much more, and it hasn't worked. It hasn't worked. Um, that's not to say that it wouldn't, but life gets in the way. Health stuff gets in the way. Um, so although I'm laughing and joking about all this stuff, it feels like a very heavy pressure. It feels like a very unpleasant pressure, and as much as I would like to be in a situation where I just don't care what people think, it's hard. I think it's hard, and it's just hard. Um, and also, I know what I want for myself. So, very much back to the drawing board, and very much in a situation where I just want to get people off my back. That's all I want. I just want people off my back. But yeah, so, you know, if I really could, if I could say what I wanted, I would say a lovely partner to split my costs with, a lovely partner, um, definitely my own place, uh, rent because it's cheaper. However, I would buy because it would be more financially better down the line, of course. I'd have a pet, and I might even, have a few children. I might have multiple children, but it's just not how it's worked. So yeah. So that's that. Now, because that's 20 minutes of talking about stuff that's got nothing to do with vestibular stuff, I'm just gonna talk about that now. So I saw an ENT consultant yesterday who basically gave me a sort of a mirror of a diagnosis of what I was diagnosed with 2 years ago. And she said, you need to be seen by an audio vestibular, can't remember the last word, you need to be seen by one of them, because it seems that your symptoms recur when I make my videos. It's actually quite obvious that the symptoms do recur for me, and it's a shitter, but like they have, and that it might be useful for me to have some kind of like migraine preventative drug or course or something like that. But she's like, she's not able to give that, and they need to do it. Plus, they need to do an assessment while you're ill, not when you're well. And obviously, that is what happened before. I got seen by audio vestibular. Let me actually count how many months it would have been. Became ill in like January, February, got seen in September. So I was recovered. So I went there with 0 symptoms. It was very difficult to conjure up the symptoms again. And the doctor looked at me like, what the fuck are you doing here? And what I really didn't appreciate about that doctor was that he told me that there had never been anything wrong, ever. No, ever. Like nothing was wrong. Even though 2 consultants up until that point had given me like positive diagnoses of vestibular neuritis and vestibular migraines. One thing I will say for certain is that I've definitely got vestibular migraine. At this point, like, I know, it is vestibular migraine. Whether there's neuritis in there, I don't know, but there's definitely migraine, because I get tightness in my neck. It feels like there's like an electric current like running through my neck. I get like pain and pressure in my ears. I get like a pressure around my head. It's just like, at this point I'm just like, girl, I know my body at this stage. I can tell you this is a migraine. I can sure tell you. Also, I was told that my particular symptoms, she said, I'll tell you this for your information. She was like, vertigo is spinning. She was like, your symptoms, so my symptoms, all those head sensations that I've just mentioned, clumsiness, disoriented, feeling like I'm going to fall, feeling like I'm floating above the ground, derealization, not feeling like I'm properly in the world, feeling very depressed with it, feeling very anxious, discoordinated, and the world feels wrong. It feels like an alien has crawled into my system, into my brain, and is trying to steer the ship, and it's gone haywire. That, I think, is the best way to describe it. And if anyone watching has that, then right, that's what it feels like, right? It feels like a foreign creature has crept into your brain and is like steering the ship, and you're like, what the fuck is this? And you feel ill. So basically, I am getting a referral to see the audio vestibular people. She's also said to me that I definitely need to do my physiotherapy. I cannot lie, I have not wanted to do any physiotherapy at all. Just not in the mood. The weather's not very nice. I'm not making excuses. I just want to say, last time physiotherapy was my, it was the thing that got me well in the end. but I just know that it took months. Like the whole process of getting over these things can take months, and there's a bit of me that's just like, so exhausted. Can I do it all over again? Fuck. So depressing. It feels so depressing. Needless to say, it looks like I've got this tendency for vestibular migraines. On the Steady Coach, Dr. Yoni Arthur does talk about vestibular migraines a lot, and she describes it as a neurocircuit issue, something that essentially you can recover from, all this stuff. I found that really helpful. I have found it really reassuring. The only trouble with it, because I have to say, it was that kind of message that absolutely got me in a calm enough state to recover the first time. The only trouble I have with it, and it still is in line with what she says, so I do not think she's wrong, is that I get it, like every couple months I'll have like some kind of like relapse in symptoms. She would argue that's because I don't want to misquote her, but that I need to find ways of like managing my stress in a different kind of way so that it doesn't accumulate into those kinds of symptoms. I just haven't learned the magic freaking formula for that, and I don't quite understand it, and it's really hard. And I also think that when you're just out there living, when you're doing a job, or maybe your job's stressful, or like, living life, then it's hard. It's just hard to be like this like person who's like completely true to themselves and lets out just the right amount of stress and frustration. And it's like, apparently it's very much like a disorder of people pleasers, and I can see that. I'm a terrible people pleaser. I'm a very fearful person. But yeah, so I don't know what I don't know what really how to approach it, but I kind of want to say, if anybody who clicked on any videos in the first place, it was because of like my vestibular symptoms. Looks like I'm back there, and we can do this together, get through it together, and all that, because it's not fun. It's a lonely old ride, and I think a huge part of it is acceptance, and acceptance of like knowing what you need to do to recover. And I'm not even at that point. So even though I would say that 2 years ago I was like almost like an expert in like getting over vestibular migraines, like I like and like a true soldier, a true, what's the word, like a veteran. I was like a veteran. It was 2 years ago, and I've lost all that energy. I've lost all that spark. I've lost all that like ability to, because it. Let me just say this: it takes a strong person, and I'm not gonna let anyone say otherwise. To get through it, I think it takes a strong person and work, whether it's personal work or physiotherapy or all of the above. Lifestyle adjustments, like all of those things. It's hard, and this is coming from somebody who, I don't have kids to look after. I don't have like an obviously stressful life, and currently I'm have no one to look after but myself. And yet, I think what I'm trying to say is, I'm overwhelmed. I get overwhelmed, and it's hard. So if you're like one of the veterans, one of the vestibular soldiers, because I truly feel like that is what we are, then yeah, man. I feel like people with vestibular disorders should all meet up and do physiotherapy together. So if anyone sees this video that lives in the UK, let's do physiotherapy together, because honestly, it's a lonely freaking ride. And that's it. I know that I've probably got a little bit of a journey ahead of me. It might, oh, I don't want to tempt fate, but it might not be as long as it previously was. It might be longer. But either way, I think, you know, I know what I need to do. The trouble I'm just having at the moment is I keep, God, we're at half an hour again. Sorry, guys. We're at, no. Oh, I don't know. I can't remember what I was going to say. Yeah, I think I know what I need to do to I know the motions I need to go through, essentially. Oh, yeah, I can't remember if I said I've been getting the vestibular migraines. I get them when I go to sleep, which is just awful. I have them throughout the day, but they get triggered when I sleep, which is making me wonder if my sleeping position is like a bit fucked. But anyway, if you like a big ramble about vestibular migraines, I'm sorry, I don't like big long videos. It's too much information, but yeah. Good luck, everybody. Anybody who's in a similar boat, good luck, all the best. Like, keep doing you. You're freaking amazing. You're freaking amazing. Well done for keep going. And yeah. Yeah, I'll be back with more dizziness updates soon, I'm sure.